Alrighty, so in front of you, you should have a packet, and at the very top left, you should see the same problem that you see in the top left here. We're looking at 4 basketball players. These are their heights. We want to put them in order from shortest to tallest. So first, let's change all of these into decimals because that's going to be easiest to compare. This one's already in a decimal, so it's done. What is pi? What number do we typically use for pi? We don't use that button. 3.14. So if I multiply 2 and 3 and 1400ths, I get 6 and 2800ths. You should all know how to divide a fraction to make it a decimal. So I take the top number, the numerator, and divide it by the denominator, the bottom number. And when I do that, I get 6.3 repeating. All right. Then on your calculator, if you use the square root button and you take the square root of 37, you should get about 6 and 800ths. Okay. So who's the shortest? Brad. So that means that D is out. Who is the next shortest? Out of these 3, who's the shortest? Well, 0 is smaller than both of these, so Latoya would be next. Okay? Then, who's shorter between these 2? Christine, so you should have B. Alright? For number 2, again, on your calculator, you have a square root button. Take the square root of 5. Where does it fall between? Which 2 numbers? 2 and 3. The only one fall between 2 and 3 is G. Alright? So we're doing the same thing. Pi, we know that's 3.14. Square root of 15. 3 and 8700ths. So it says least, smallest to biggest. So which one is the smallest? Pi. So that one's out. Which one's the next smallest? Square root of 15. That one's out. So then it says 4.1 or 4.1 with the line over. What does that line mean? That it's repeating. So it's 4.1111111111111111111111111111111111111111111. This is 4.1. So 4.1 is smaller than 4.1 repeating. There you go. What is the square root of 1? 1. So you should have H. Alright? This one's a little bit harder. You can easily do that one. So what's the square root of 3? And then just make that negative. Alright? For this one, even though it's a square root symbol, these 2 are next to each other, which means they're being multiplied. So we have 2 that's negative. That's going to be times the square root of 2, and then we're going to push the equal sign, and that gives us negative 2.83. Okay? And a positive 4. So it says least to greatest. Which one's the smallest? Remember, when we're dealing with negatives, we're looking for the one that's farthest away from 0. So which one's farthest away from 0? This one right here. Okay? Now we are looking at the next page. Remember, when we did our review online, we did our review with our Kahoot, we took the amount of money and we divided by how many there was. So we would take 437, and that's 4 cents, and we would just divide that by 6. When you do that, what do you get? $72.84. Okay? Particular plant grows an average of 3/5 per day. How many inches will a plant grow during a 7-week period? So think of it this way. I have 3/5, and that's day 1. Second day would be another 3/5, right? Third day, let me put a little. Third day would be another 3/5. And how many days would I do that for? I would go all the way up to 7. So, if instead of adding 3/5 7 times, what could I do? Well, I could do 3/5 times 7. And I would get 4 1/5. Okay? The next one's hard, but you can do this. You gotta think through it though. A scuba diver goes down. What kind of numbers goes down? Negative. At a rate of negative 4 feet per minute.
Good morning, West Plain. Hey, if you have...
Alright, so negative 4 feet per minute. And then it says after 6 minutes. So same thing what we did here, we're going to just times that by 6. So after 6 minutes, he's negative 24 feet in the water. Okay? From there, it says then he comes up at 3 feet. So that's going to be a plus 3 feet per minute. Okay? What is the driver's depth after 11 minutes? Does this 11 minutes include this 6 minutes? It does. So how many minutes does he come up for? 5 minutes. So we're going to multiply that by 5, get a positive 15, and where do we end up at? Positive 9. Okay, so you should have A. Mark buys a pack of baseball cards that weighs 4/5 an ounce. There are 8 cards in the pack, each of which has the same weight. What is the weight of each baseball card? So in these, right, it was 3/5 per day or 6 feet per minute. And then it was for a certain amount of time, so we multiplied, right? But this one's actually saying this is the total and there are this many. So if I have 16 cookies and 2 friends and they say how many does each friend get, what operation is that? Division. So I'm going to take my 4/5 and I'm going to divide that by 8. I'm going to take my 4/5 and I'm going to divide that by 8. And when you do that, 4/5, I'm so sorry. You should get 1/10. Okay? Now, the last one. You've done a problem like this. Okay? Marla, Nina, and Mia bought their parents 4 throw pillows. A throw pillow is just a pretty pillow. Each pillow costs $9.42, and the tax is already in that $9.42. Okay? Then they split it. If you have siblings and you ever buy anything for your parents, you know what it's like to split the money between each other. Okay? So there is $9.42 for 1 pillow. But how many do they buy? 4. So how do I figure out how much they're paying for these pillows? Times it by 4. Okay? That's going to give me a total of $37.68 for the 4 pillows. Then each girl is helping to pay for them. So then what happens? They're going to divide that by 3. And that's going to give them $12.56 per person. And that's what they're looking for. You don't have to worry about anything with this. Okay? All right, next page. These are our proportions. Every single one on this one is going to be a proportions. We got this. Of all the U.S. presidents who served before 1900, exactly 4% were from Indiana. The only U.S. president was this. Okay? If we see that percent, right, that's our proportion. So I have 4% over our total of 100%. All of our percents are always out of 100. Okay? Equals the only U.S. president from Indiana was Benjamin Harris. How many presidents is that? 1. How many U.S. presidents were there? That's what they want us to figure out. So this is our butterfly. Multiply diagonal, divide by the leftover number, and what do you get? 25. So you should have C marked. Okay? Number 2 has actually been done for you, so I'm going to leave that one there. Number 3, by 2 o'clock on Saturday afternoon, 20% of Jeffrey's guests had arrived at his birthday party. Oh, I see a number. So I have 20 out of 100 If 3 people had arrived, how many guests is Jeffrey expecting at his party in total? Well, I have 3 out of a total of I don't know. Multiply diagonal, divide by the leftover number. And what do you get? 15. He's expecting 15 friends. All right. River Forest, a very small town in central Indiana, had a population of 16 people in 1990. By 2000, it had risen to 28. Woo woo, that's a big town. By what percent? Okay? So when it says by what percent, right? That's saying we don't know what that is, right? But because it says percent and increase, we know that we need to do our old or new minus each other. We need to get that number up top over our original. Okay? So what is 28 minus 16? That is 12, and then I do my butterfly. So by what percent did it increase? 75%. Man, that population's booming. All right, Liz is watching a movie on her DVD player. She stops the movie after watching 60% of it. All right, I got a percent, and it is out of 100. The DVD player shows that she has watched 66 minutes. How long is the total? So that means that 66 is on top, X is on bottom. Do your butterfly. Multiply diagonally, divide by the leftover number, and you should get C. All right. Paige puts $1,000 into a savings account at a bank. By the end of the year, it is worth $1,050. By what percent did his savings increase? Oh, savings increase in percentage. Ooh, we don't know our percent. We're going to do our new minus our old over our old. What is this minus this? 50. All right, let's solve it. And it went up 5%. Okay, so you need to go on to the next video.